What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back to my unit review series for Fire Emblem Heroes, and today we're going to be taking a look at Young Minerva that we have got from the Tempest Trial, and these are the topics I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you want to jump to a specific section, you can check out the timestamps in the description right below that like button, and with that said, let us begin.
Like Michaela showed me.
Young Minerva is an axe flyer with a very solid stat spread. She has got 36 base attack, 37 base speed, and 35 defense. And all of this is really good because either axe flyers are really slow and they have high defense and high attack, or if they can get fast, they don't really have the greatest attack stat. So Minerva is absolutely amazing with this kind of stat spread. Her resistance becomes a dump stat, which is understandable, and it's definitely a good trade-off to have better attack speed and defense compared to most of the axe flyers that we have got in the game. Minerva is a really interesting free-to-play axe flyer because she's not really tied down to the enemy phase, because she does have speed that she can utilize in the player phase, and she's not really tied down to player phase either because she's got good defense which she can make use of in the enemy phase. So she can act as a pretty good mixed phase unit because of these stats. Her weapon is Dragoon Axe, which is a preferred weapon, giving her -1 special cooldown, which is extremely useful. At start of combat, if foe is at full health, then she gets +4 to all of her stats during the combat, and she inflicts guard status on them. So basically she has got a conditional guard and conditional effect, which can give her extra stats depending on the HP of the foe. I like the fact that Young Merrick and Sheeta have got multiple conditions to activate their effect in their weapons, but our free unit gets only one condition. Usually I'm not really a big fan of these effects which depend on foe being at full health, but it's not really all that bad for Minerva because even if this effect is not active, she still has really solid stat spread, and she has a -1 special cooldown as her primary condition and doesn't have like a +3 passive to her weapon, and -1 special cooldown any day is going to be much better than any of those passive buffs that you could have on these weapons. So the -1 special cooldown is always going to be there. I feel like whenever we talk about these weapons that want the foe to be at full health, we cannot really compare these weapons in vacuum because these are preferred weapons attached to units. So some units might not be that good with these weapons because they are completely dependent on these effects because of their stat spread. And there are some units who have these kinds of effects and they already have a solid stat spread, so even with or without this kind of conditional effect, they can still perform really good and be a strong unit. So I think Minerva fits right into that category. Her slotted skill is an exclusive skill called Dragoon Shield. It basically nullifies her weakness to archers, and it also gives her +3 attack speed and defense, and these are visible stats, kinda like Fury. I would go as far as to compare this skill to Altina's Ashera's Chosen, where it also nullifies her flyer weakness, but the other effect which she has got is conditional, where she needs to be not near a human to get +6 attack and defense. Dragoon Shield doesn't really give her stats that much for her attack and defense, but it kind of balances it out by giving Minerva speed as well and not having any kind of condition at all. So in my opinion, this is an extremely good slotted skill which Minerva has got, and this provides her with a lot of build options because, as I said, Minerva is a mixed phase unit and these stats which she gets are active in both phases, so that is absolutely fantastic. Her slot B skill is Flyer Formation, which we didn't have before on an easily available unit. Her special is Draconic Aura, which is not really her best special option. Bonfire, Ignis also provide you with a lot of damage output, and something like Moonbow or Glimmer can also be run if you want a lower cooldown special. So overall, Minerva's stat spread is very solid. Her preferred slotted skill is also extremely good. Her weapon giving her -1 special cooldown is good, and the conditional effect of the weapon can make it even better for her on top of her already solid stat spread. She's got 167 BST, so after the first merge, she reaches 170 BST, which is really good and makes her a really cheap unit that you can invest into for arena purpose. Overall, I would say that Young Minerva is one of the best free-to-play units that we have got, and really one of the best Grail merge projects you could have in the green color, because she's just so versatile. She's got good mobility of a flyer, she can nullify her flyer weakness on top of getting some stats from her slotted skill, and it's just a very good unit altogether for various game modes in the game. Another thing which makes her stand out and be a fan favorite is that we don't really have any kind of other competition in this category of a fast axe flyer. The other units who can compete with her are Summer Innis and Spring Fear, who are 5-star exclusive units, and Spring Fear does have a similar weapon where she gets -1 special cooldown like Minerva. On top of that, she also gets null follow-up, but as I said, she is not really easily available and not very easy to merge, and Young Minerva, while being fast, has got more defense than both of these units. So that should explain why a lot of people are extremely excited for her, because we have had Axe Flyers who can fit other roles, but not really a role of a fast Axe Flyer with this solid stat spread and a preferred weapon and a preferred skill.
I'll do it! You'll see!
Her first build is a budget Tempest Trial build. The Tempest Trial just started today, so you could get her and run Renewal on her so that she can self-sustain herself, and distant defense should help you to survive against mages. She's gonna be extremely fast, so she's not really gonna get doubled a lot, but distant defense can help you take less damage, and Renewal is a top tier skill for Tempest Trial, and you could just not run any kind of assist skill because it could cause drawback or reposition loop when you're gonna be auto battling. Her second build is a budget build for a general purpose use with flying allies. So Flyer Formation can be used with a Bond Sacred Seal, and Bonfire, as I said, is a really good special for her. Attack Smoke is a very good cheap option for her. Do not run Savage Blow because Savage Blow has got anti-synergy with her weapon. So Attack Smoke, Defense Smoke, or any of the Rouse skills can also be a good option for her slot C, or just a Flyer skill if you're gonna be running her with a lot of Flyer allies. Her third build is a budget player phase build with Desperation and Sparrow Sacred Seal. So she does have pretty good speed, and with this build she can reach 48 speed and 63 attack unboosted. And Bonfire, as always, is going to be a really good special for her, but you could always run Moonbow or Glimmer if you want a 1-turn cooldown special that you could trigger in Desperation. Her fourth build is another budget build, but this is for enemy phase. So Dull Close is a good budget option from Carmack. Flyers don't really have the greatest budget options for slot B, so Dull Close is definitely a pretty good one, and Minerva is already fast enough to the point where you don't really need to run quick riposte on her. You could just run Steady Posture and provide her with some speed support from her allies, and she's going to be able to double pretty consistently in the enemy phase. Steady Posture does give you defense and speed, and Dull Close will just ignore any kind of buffs of your melee foes, which she is meant to tank. And now we move on to slightly more expensive builds with more investments. So this is a plus 10 Gale Force build for Minerva. This could also be run for lower merge Minerva, but at max merges, obviously this build has got its peak potential. So this is a pretty cheap build even though it's a high merge build. You just have to run Heavy Blade Sacred Seal and Desperation. So Minerva reaches monstrous stats at plus and merge. She's got 64 attack, and that's really good for triggering Heavy Blade. And she also has 50 speed if her weapon is active on a foe. So she can trigger Gale Force in a single round of combat because Gale Force becomes a 4-turn cooldown special with Dragoon Axe. So that's why Heavy Blade is a really good option on her. Her sixth build is a very tanky build, but it's a bit expensive. So it utilizes Heavy Blade. As I said, her attack is really good for that. So she can trigger Ignis in both player phase and in the enemy phase because she is a really good mixed phase unit at max merges with high speed. So with Heavy Blade Sacred Seal against melee foes, you could trigger Ignis that does 38 damage, which is a lot, and Mystic Boost can help you self-sustain. It doesn't really help her too much with its other effects, but it's mainly there for her self-sustainability. And for budget builds, you could obviously run Renewal on her slot B. Her seventh build is for max arena score. So as I said before, Minerva is a really good unit to be used in Arena because you don't only have to inherit any kind of expensive slotted skill to her like Distant Counter or a dual skill or any of those things, because she already comes with a 300 SP slotted skill and she can reach 170 BST, so that is perfect for a budget build. And all you have to do is run a dual rally skill or any kind of 400 SP assist skill, and that should give you max arena score with something like Ether or Gale Force. Minerva is really good in Arena because she can survive and bait out meta archers like Legendary Crom, Lucina, Legendary Leaf, and Legendary Alm. And guard status from her weapon can definitely help her against Nira and Zeal, and also Legendary Alm's Lunar Flash. So having that guard status on her weapon, even though it's conditional, can be a huge boon. Not to mention, having any kind of flying ally in your arena core is super invaluable because they can provide you the guidance support with that Sacred Seal. In Arena, you're not really going to be using drawback, reposition, or any kind of positional skills. You're going to be running dual rally skills for the score. So in that kind of environment, guidance is a big help for movement. And Renewal can be run as a slot B skill. You could also run Dull Close or any kind of chill skill. It's really flexible, and slot C is flexible as well. Her next build is also for Arena, but this is very expensive. So this max arena score build tries to fix Minerva's resistance and her matchups against dragons. Obviously in Arena, you're going to be facing a ton of armored dragons, and because of her low resistance, she could struggle against them. But with Mirror Impact and a weapon active, she can reach 38 resistance against these kinds of units, and that is very useful for those matchups. And it also helps her against Vengeful Fighter and Quick Riposte enemies So Mirror Impact is a really good option for her if you want to go with an expensive build, and you would have to run a 300 SP Slotsy skill to make up for the fact that you're sacrificing your score by running IO Shield Sacred Seal, because IO Shield Sacred Seal only scores 200 SP, so to offset that you have to run a 300 SP Slotsy skill. So it does increase the overall investment you have to do if you want to make her strong against dragons, so that is something you could do, but it's very expensive. Speaking of being expensive, her final build is super expensive with Distant Foil, Ruptured Sky, and all of these premium skills. So this max score arena build basically tries to one-round kill extremely annoying archers, which I've mentioned before, like Legendary Leaf, Chrom, Legendary Alm, Legendary Lucina, which you will face all the time in arena. And to be honest, because of these archers, the arena has become pretty unfun over the past few months. But if you use Minerva in arena with this kind of build, she can actually one-round KO them. So Ruptured Sky is mainly there to one-shot Sturdy Impact plus 10 Legendary Alm and Lucina upon retaliation. That's its main use. You could also run something like Blue Flame or Ether, but Ruptured Sky really focuses on the goal of this build, which is to one-round KO these archers. So it's a one-turn cooldown special, and she can instantly retaliate back with that special. And Distant Foil is a very situational skill. It's not really all that good on many units, but Minerva is actually one of those units who can make extremely good use of this because she has no business fighting mages, and she can take on these archers for you in arena. You could also run Distant Counter actually if you don't really have Distant Foil, but as I said, she should not be fighting any kind of mages, but she can be used to bait out plus 10 Legendary Azuras and just one-round KO them, who are super annoying. But keep in mind, you need the extra attack from Distant Foil to really one-shot a lot of these like annoying archers with their max invested builds. So I have run some calcs for this build. Now at the time of making this video, Young Minerva isn't really present in that calculator, so I just improvised and had the same stats and skills for Minerva. And here I've got these plus 10 invested archers with annoying skills like Sturdy Impact on Lucina and Alm, and with stuff like Double Death Blow, Legendary Leaf. So Minerva is able to comfortably survive them and one-round KO them with this build. So this is a theory craft, which can be really helpful to you if you have that kind of aim of dealing with these annoying archers, because they are just super common.
I'll end this!
Young Minerva, in my opinion, is a very solid Heroic Grails investment, but you are going to be requiring 2,700 Grails to plus and merge her because she's a Tempest Trial unit. Just as a recap, she's got solid stats and a good preferred skill and weapon, which makes her a fantastic unit to be used for any kind of game mode in this game. And she's very cheap to build in arena, as I've shown you with the builds before. You don't really require any kind of dual skill or expensive slotty skill to get her max score. And she can easily deal with many of the annoying archers in arena because of her preferred skill. And she's also very tanky to easily just shrug off their damage. And she's overall an extremely versatile unit, and she's got so many build options as you just saw. But there are still many reasons why you may not want to invest into Minerva. The first thing is that she can only reach 170 BST in arena, so she's not really fully optimal or future-proof in terms of arena scoring. Arena scoring has got extremely inflated at this point, so if you want to keep up as a free-to-play player, you have to invest into 180 BST units to just make sure that you are future-proofing yourself, because every single point in arena counts if you are serious about reaching tier 21 arena or staying in tier 21 arena, which is going to be extremely hard for a free-to-play player. And Flame Emperor is also another grail option if you want to score stick for arena, and he does have 180 BST, and he can score extra 4 points because of that with a max invested build. And Flame Emperor is also cheaper to build with Grails because he's a Grand Tour battle unit. But an argument can be made that Flame Emperor is going to be super miserable to use in arena because you're going to be facing these ranged threats all the time, and Flame Emperor's low movement as an armor unit can be a big detriment. Meanwhile, Young Minerva has got flyer mobility. She can provide you the guide and support to your teammates, so that could be a huge boon, and it could make your arena experience overall better and easier compared to Flame Emperor, who does score higher, but mobility is an issue. So that is going to be my review for Young Minerva or Mini Minerva. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me so much with YouTube's algorithm. And share this video with your friends who are really hyped up about Young Minerva. Honestly, I'm really happy about her as well. And when you subscribe, please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can always get the updates to my videos whenever I upload. Because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as archers versus Young Minerva. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.